Only in an extended emergency does the need for food become life-threatening, and then only after other survival needs have been accounted for. There is a romantic concept of being able to live off the land which does not fit reality for any but the most skilled woodsman. Even the best hunter or fisherman has off days, and anyone who has foraged for wild edibles knows that if the season is wrong, the pot may well go empty, besides the fact that often the nutritional value of the food does not equal the calories burnt in harvesting. This deficit spending is the antithesis of survival. What can be a rewarding experience when you have a cooler full of steaks back at base camp can turn to slim pickings when dinner consists of roots, berries, or leaves. The best tools for finding food in the wilderness are firearms, archery, and fishing equipment. Couple these with a little hunting savvy, and you're not likely to starve. A number of the techniques depicted can inflict extreme pain on an animal. They are not for casual use or amusement, but rather for what the early American fur trappers called starvin' times. It has been demonstrated to the author and others that sportsmen who respect nature are more likely to share in her bounty. Another principle that applies to wilderness foraging for food is that you are eating for nourishment rather than amusement. While venison roasted over an open fire is one of the great Epicurean delights, carp is a poor-tasting fish, but if a carp can keep you alive, go for it. An additional principle that is extremely important is that survival is a lot like war. You have to pull out all the stops and fight dirty. This means abandoning the ethical conduct of the sportsman and using every tool and trick at your disposal to find food. This means using illegal techniques, but it is very unlikely a person in a survival situation would face criminal charges for poaching, and regardless, it is better to be judged by 12 than married by 6.
Now we have some examples of improvised fishing spears. This particular model is made from a conventional knife lashed to a spear with paracord. The knife we've used here is a new Army M9 bayonet. This is an example of a hollow-handled knife. Hollow-handled knives are very prominent right now. This particular model, an excellent example, was made by Chris Reeve from One Piece of Steel. It's just inserted on a stick and then it's lashed down with string, fishing line, or wire. The third model is a frog gig. Can easily be used for small fish. Simply cork the barbs and carry it in your pack. Find a stick in the woods and attach it. This is a truly improvised fishing spear made from a forked stick with 2 sharpened barbs, totally impaling the fish and securing it. When you use a fishing spear, an improvised fishing spear, if possible, try to pin the fish to the bottom of the stream. This is a figure 4 deadfall trap, which uses 3 sticks and a series of notches and grooves to drop a weight upon an animal that comes trying to steal the bait from the trap. You'll notice that the trap forms a figure 4 where the trap gets its name from. It uses this rock in order to drop right on the animal. You have a notch here, a groove here, a series of 2 combining grooves, and this is where the bait is placed. This point holds the rock, and in just a second we're going to demonstrate and trigger the trap. Now that our figure 4 trap is set with the rock as a deadfall, we'll give you an example of what happens when the animal comes and nudges on the bait stick. The animal's caught, and there you have it. This is a common noose snare. This one is made by Thompson. It's attached to the tree, simply laid out into the trail. We set up a barrier which hopefully will drive the animal towards the snare, putting its neck in it and producing this result. Harder the animal fights, the tighter the snare is drawn. It produces strangulation, and there you have your dinner.
The senses of wild game are heightened to a degree that is hard to understand. For survival purposes, unless you're a native and a very proficient hunter, it is preferable to let the game come to you, at least when you're using a firearm or archery equipment. This is most effective when you're near a point intersecting an animal's travel route or feeding or watering source. Woodsmen recognize game trails like veins in the heart of the forest, but the novice needs to memorize a few points. Animals often visit watering places at dawn or dusk. Try to stay downwind of any watering place, and once in position, remain patient and quiet. Superfluous noise will spook game, as will scents such as cigarette smoke or aftershave. Always use cover of some sort, such as trees, rocks, or brush. Look for fresh tracks or animal droppings. You may only get one shot, and it has to count. If you're sure of your ability, the accuracy of your weapon, go for the head. If not, try to place your bullet or arrow directly behind the shoulder of an animal such as a deer, where you will hit lung or even heart. It is estimated that the earth provides in excess of 120,000 varieties of edible plants. In every location and every season, there are plants that can be foraged. However, plants should be considered supplemental to animal foods. The out of doors is a treasure trove for those who study its bounty. One of the finest sources of information concerning wild plants outside of a nature walk with an expert is to consult the 2 sets of edible and poisonous plant ID cards from Brigade. One is designed for the western U.S. and the other for the eastern. Of compact size, a set of these cards is an interesting addition to any outdoor trek and well worth adding to a survival kit. Photos are far superior to illustrations, particularly for a subject as serious as plant identification.